Hello, everyone. This is Roopa Sunku, bringing to you yet another episode of Mentor Loop. Today, I'm going to talk about planning for a strategic presentation. So, in order to get there, you need to do some pre-work. And this is about thinking about who your audience are, what are they looking for, and what are they want to hear from you. So, what is the think? What is the feel? And what's the do that you're looking for within your presentation? Think about how you want to plan your presentation. Think about the agenda and whether it meets everyone's needs of the people coming in to receive or hear your presentation. Make sure that your presentation is bringing some change if it is not a complete sign off on the entire effort. There should be some consensus on what you're proposing, how you plan to execute it, and also making sure that you have the timeline to make this happen. Have a conversation with a bunch of your colleagues or your team members to have some insight about what you're presenting, if they like it, and get some early input to the content of your presentation. Think about the presentation of whether it aligns to the strategic goals within your corporation or your team or the project at hand. Write down all of the questions and its entire details so that you can follow up with any items that is unanswered during your presentation. Read your room constantly and make sure that people talking are ready to hear what you want to present and make sure that you've got the message across completely. When you're presenting, you also have to think about what are the effects to your future as a person, as a team, as an organization, and whether you want to still pursue this even after the presentation in terms of getting the content that you have gotten approval or get reached with a lot of concern by your audience and your stakeholders. So press for closure or some kind of a conclusion at your presentation. What do you give as a good presentation to you may not have been received or did not reach your audience at the same level of conviction. So then you may need to revisit what it is that went right or what needs to be changed in your next attempt of closing the deal. So there are multiple elements that are important in a strategic presentation. The elements that you need to kind of think about before you go into your presentation is what is the mission or the goal? What are you trying to accomplish with this presentation? The strategic initiative that you're designing or desiring to transform, and also communicate the strategy that you want to impact and lay it out as exact steps or tactics in your plan. Do comparative analysis, maybe compare markets, competitors, features, or other attributes to what this project is represented. It may also be just the granular or the organic changes that you're bringing in your organization. So you can do the then and the now comparative analysis as well. Always keep metrics handy. Do not display your dashboards or your live dashboards as a initial starting point, but definitely keep your KPIs that you want to bring to the attention of the audience, and the details of the dashboard should be understood in alignment to the KPIs as you're getting ready for your presentation. Think about budget and resources. How will you contemplate the resources to be played out or required for the project or realigned for the project? And what are the budget requirements that need to be signed off by the stakeholders? Always have the execution plan in place. So plan your project with a timeline. Also have a decision framework within your presentation. If there are more than one option that you're presenting, prioritize those options and lay it out so that it can be presented in the format of option one, so and so, if not option two, so and so. So make sure you know what is your priority and your preference between the options that you are proposing. Always keep in mind that there are risks and analysis and help and support mechanics that will also play into your presentation, and anticipate some of this and keep those visual designs in your back pocket and emphasize on the emotion or the body language that has alluded or exuded from your viewers. Also, in terms of having a visual model, make sure that your slides have all the definitions and elements of what your proposal holds. So start with a hunch or a problem, then move on to insights or the ethnography research that you have done. Then move into the problem solution fit, which would be the minimum viable product that you have. Then go into a product iteration, which would be the beta testing. Then go into product and market fit, which is the runaway organic growth. And lastly, scale it. Whether it's an improvement or it's an optimization, needs to be understood and delivered. So there is a visual model to represent business strategy by Brian Todd, and check that out. The process towards PMF is what he calls his model, and that is PMF being product market fit. There is also another visual way to show the task and reach your goals and remove the barriers to reach those goals. And there are three primary things that you have to keep in mind here. With every task, what is your path? What are the barriers that you anticipate? And how is it that you will get to that goal? So explain and project the timeline based on all of the barriers that you may face being able to get those tasks in motion. So that is another sort of approach you need to keep in mind, because there are often people who are not only approving a project or a strategic move in the organization, but also trying to anticipate some of the roadblocks that you may see in order to reach that goal. So keep that as well. And I think most of you are probably very familiar with the SWOT analysis. Always understand the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that would be associated to the model or the project that you're presenting. The last but more important aspect of your presentation is you have to present the data like a pro. You need to understand and know what you're proposing and know the inside and the out. Keep your slides to a minimum and deliver and share the passion or the skill strength that you have, or the operational strength that you may have to be able to get that effort done. So the quickest way to confuse your audience is by sharing way too many details. So make sure that the data points are very succinct and it is significant, and kind of keep those primary elements that I shared earlier on your presentation. And an ideal one in terms of PowerPoints and charts is spending maybe a minute or two per slide. Time your slides based on the details. And also make sure not to read from every bit of your slide, but speak to your slides and let the audience interact with your slides and read the slides with you to be able to follow along. As people say, pictures speak louder than words. So use pie charts, histograms, line charts to be able to bring clarity to the data that you're presenting. Give that flow charts, which kind of talks about the evolution of the project and the phases of the project as well. Give the best chance of comprehending your data in very simple and clear language. And also go ahead and, as I said, keep it succinct so that people are reading through the slides, interacting through the slides, and asking any of the questions that you may not have addressed during the presentation. Try to avoid abbreviations and making very long theoretical or philosophical discussions be laid out in your presentation. Make sure you have a slide that gives the aha moment. And when people say they have no questions, then you have definitely delivered the content. Has it confused them or has it left them contented? Is something that you always need to weigh in on the room and the presentation that you have delivered. Making sure if it has confused them to get some clarifying questions or discussion questions up and running. And if you have convinced them, then go in and get that sign off and that closure to the effort with the next steps and execution to be paved for your next steps. So in essence, your presentation is something that you have a lot of pre-work on, keeping in mind all of those elements, know and understand your stakeholders, make sure that you anticipate some of the barriers or the questions coming from your audience, and also think about the decision maker or the stakeholders as to who or what they are going to look to for a sign off or agreeing to the budget assigned to the project. And talk to them, make sure that you have used those key players to have validated your approach so that you can be certain of getting that buy-in from the leadership or the stakeholders at hand. I hope you have found this presentation insightful, and I hope you will join us at touchalife.org/career help to be a mentor or a mentee with us. Looking forward to interact with you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at touchalife.org, and happy to work with you and bring to you many more such episodes that would be of interest and intent for you folks. Thank you and have a good one. Bye-bye.